said talk to me, damn it, or else I'm gonna throw you in the fire!
You stupid bitch! You filthy...
Flyover State of Fear. Welcome to Flyover State of Fear. I got some great returning guests with me from Shaken Not Scared, Erick and Vivi. How have you guys been? It's been too long.
It's been a minute. It's been a year.
It's been a year, just about a year. Yeah.
Yeah, we still didn't live in our new place yet. We had a whole end of the world thing happen before.
Yeah,
we met again.
Yeah, well, you guys were in your condo, and then you were in your parents, and now you're in your own space. So congratulations.
Yeah, I think the last time
I'm in my parents.
It's true, we swapped. We manifested it. The last time we talked to you literally was probably 2-3 days before we moved out of there.
It really was.
You're right. I remember.
In chaos. All those, like, our background was just boxes. I don't know if you remember.
We're still in boxes, but it's fine.
I feel like everyone's still in boxes. Like, we moved in the fall, and I'm still finding shit in boxes, and like
it never ends.
Or like, I gotta run to the storage unit because I did this. It never ends.
Yeah, we didn't do the storage unit thing. We just lived like in mountains of boxes for a while and just made a little hallway to get to the bed.
I couldn't do that. I was like, if I'm not paying rent, I guess I could do the storage unit. And now I'm like, I'm sure half the shit in there I don't even need.
Just give it away to one of those TV shows, like the container ones.
Oh, Storage Wars.
Yeah.
You know what? I took everything that I really like. We were talking about in movies before. I was like, they can't be in the unit, or like my records.
Mm-hmm.
So everything else in there, I think it's fine.
I don't need it.
Yeah, it's like, oh, you want a CRTV TV that I like took off the side of the road to play old video games? Take it. Get another one. So for anyone listening and clicked on the thumbnail, we'll be talking about Killer Klowns from Outer Space today. But before we do that, well, how you've been, but also like what have you guys been watching and like kind of within the space. I know you're really involved in the horror community as a whole in itself. So
yeah, we've been trying to catch up with like what's most popular, what most people are watching. So probably like everyone else in the space, we watch Skinamarink and Megan.
I've seen Megan. I haven't seen right before we were recording. Literally, a friend texted me saying I'm watching Skinamarink. And she's alone, and she's like, I made a mistake, but she's gonna finish it. Is it worth the watch? I've really heard the complete parallels of it's trash to, or just like, it's nothing to, give yourself the experience.
Well, it's available on Shudder now, so anyone that wants to check it out can. Very personally, it wasn't for me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, if analog horror is your thing, definitely check it out. For your friend who's watching it alone, I could see how it's creepy because although it probably also wasn't for me, I was telling Vivi that going out to let our dogs out in the pitch black backyard, it was like, the shadows start to, look like things. And I think it plays on that. Kind of like how when you first watched Paranormal Activity, you were like, what's happening?
Oh, I'll never forget that one.
Yeah, that anticipation. That's kind of what Skin's like. Yeah.
Okay, I'll be checking it out. And you mentioned Megan. Yeah, I adored Megan.
I think this is like the first movie that has not divided the horror community in a long time. Everyone loved it.
It's like what they wanted the new Chucky to be, like that new AI Chucky.
I hated that fucking movie so much. And this movie, but took that good concept and did it right, and it knows. I haven't talked about it on camera. It knows what it is. That's why it worked for me. That's why they didn't divide the horror audience and like got good reviews. Like they put a movie out and like the characters you were in, like you cared about them enough.
it helps that they've all been in the horror space in movies
Yeah.
that have been loved recently.
I think it also played on how recently people have been talking more and more about like AI and Uncanny Valley things, and because she looked like she could be a real little
Yeah.
girl too.
Yeah.
You know, where like the Chucky AI thing was like he still looks weird.
And that had
Again, it
Yes.
looks like she could be real. Yeah.
and that had that look watching and be like, yo, no one would be buying this, especially that movie, like a 13-year-old boy. Like it just looked too out there. It didn't work. Like, I mean, you guys know, because when you guys were on, we did talk about Child's Play. I love that series enough, so that was like, but Megan, full-hearted, stamped. It was so much fun. Yeah. So Skinamarink, Megan, have you guys been catched up on The Last of Us, or?
We made the mistake of deciding to wait till it was all out to binge it, but spoilers everywhere.
Oh, you can't get away.
No.
From my perspective, I played the game, so I was like,
me too.
You know, when I do see some spoilers, I'm like, well, you know, eh.
Yeah.
But we've, for the same reason, just been waiting for it to come out completely.
I won't say anything. I watched the 3 episodes last week, and I was like, all right, I'm in. And when I played the game myself, I like binge played it too because I didn't have money to buy it, so I redboxed it.
Oh, cool.
But I played it in like 2 days in college.
Worth it.
And I don't remember a lot. You know, I remember being like, it's incredible, but so the show is right, like, oh yeah, like, you know, but yeah, you can't escape it. You go on TikTok, it's everywhere,
Anything.
Twitter, everywhere.
Yep. I heard about Ron Swanson.
Oh yeah.
Nick Offerman. We're gonna go see him in March.
Oh nice.
And
speaking tour kind of
comedy show.
Yeah.
And her mom works at the place we're gonna see him, and she was like, yeah, place is like sold out. Pretty sure it's got to do with Last of Us,
yeah.
definitely helped. Yeah, that was phenomenal. Like, even my wife, who just stays away from horror, she was like, I don't need to watch episode 1 or 2. I'd like to watch that 3rd episode because there's a buzz. And like, it's one-off. It's literally this like little movie, like this little. It's the first 10 minutes of Up.
Oh,
and it's great. You know, that's what it is. But just in an hour, and then like. They said there's a 2-hour cut, but it was even more like heartbreak. And I was like, the hour.
That game story in general is just when I played it, I told her like the whole story because she, you know, had never seen it. And I was like, it's, you know, it starts like this, and then this happens, and it really, really brings you into the story. And as what's the main character's name? Is it
God, it's Ellie and I'm watching the show and I'm.
I want to say Noelle, but it's not that.
Joel, it's Joel.
Joel,
not Joel. I know it, Joel. It's Joel.
Yeah, and it really, really ties you in. I wanted to play the sequel. I haven't yet, though.
I haven't either. Yeah, that game was like, it's blazed everywhere. And like, at the time I played it, like the same thing. Like my brother-in-law who didn't play it, but wouldn't shut the fuck up about it because the story's immersive. So that's great, but yeah, I feel like the horror was like on the up. I mean, I've watched a couple stinkers recently that I feel like it's been striking out with my picks. Like I watched something called Eli the other day. It was like,
is that on Netflix?
Yeah, it was a Netflix demon movie, like demon kid movie. It stunk.
Nothing to do with the Book of Eli with Denzel Washington, right?
No. Or
that
like,
movie's good.
That one is good. Another bleak movie. Or I watched We're Going to the World's Fair. Did you guys watch that? We're All Going to the World's Fair. It's a Hulu original.
It sounds very familiar.
Yeah,
that sounds cool.
It's probably more in the line of like a Skinner. It was more like experimentally kind of a vibey than actual like scare, and it was a webcam movie.
Oh,
okay.
I like films like that.
You guys should check out Deadstream if you haven't.
Heard a lot about that one too.
We just
told me about it.
I probably did.
Yeah.
I just covered it, which will be coming out before this. So, very fun movie. Check it out. Especially since you guys are familiar with your like YouTubers that are obnoxious and like, you know, the PewDiePie, Mr. Beast kind of stunt Logan Paul YouTuber. It's that, but the guy nails it, and it's funny, and it's good, and it's like the Cloverfield version of like the Evil Dead.
You say Cloverfield and Evil Dead, and you have
Where-
Meaning, like,
Yeah.
it could be an Evil Dead movie, but it's not. Anyway,
Yeah.
do it. But we're talking about Killer Klowns today, and why'd you guys?
Ooh.
What you got?
Do you mind if I pause for a second? I have a thing to show you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
let me.
1 sec.
All right, you want to resume?
Yeah, sure.
All right, we're back. I get cut in here. I don't know. All right, so today we are talking about Killer Klowns, and that is so fucking cool. I'm
So
gonna
loud.
need that. It's loud. I heard it. I would think I was gonna buy that.
So fun.
It
It's
was-
a Spirit Halloween.
Yep, I almost bought that.
Yeah, when we went, pretty sure like every person had it in their car, right?
Oh yeah, it
Yeah.
was like selling out fast. We're
Hell
like, we
yeah.
gotta have it.
I went to Spirit Halloween myself, and I was like, last minute, what do I gotta be for the party?
Yeah.
And I had that costume up, one of the Killer Klowns, and I settled on Sam from
That's still a
from
good
Trick or
choice.
Treat. Yeah. And because I was like, Killer Klowns, I was like, yeah, I need one other person. I'm going to a party where no one's gonna go what this is, and I wish I bought that fucking prop gun.
I do want to get like a legit Killer Clown costume.
They're great.
Yeah, with the moving face and mouth and stuff.
Oh, that
To
looks
go
Yeah.
with my gun.
yeah. Next year.
There.
Next year I'll fly down to Chi-Town and we'll do Halloween in that, and we'll just go as a bunch of clowns.
Let's do it. And then maybe we'll just run around with the camera, and then we'll restart that clowns on the internet phase that happened.
Oh
in,
yeah, that happened in 2016.
Oh shit. Horrifying. Some of that happened in New Jersey too. So if you haven't told, we're doing Killer Klowns, and kind of what made you guys choose it? Was it the gun? Was it what's the catalyst of the pick?
Well, Eric picked this one. It is one of his favorites.
Yeah, I used to dream about this movie like all the time. So many different parts of it were in my nightmares. I could like tell you like I remember that one and I remember this one. Namely, the toilet one was probably the more frequent nightmare that I had. Is like going to the bathroom and then something eating my butthole out.
Eric, that could still happen.
True.
I mean,
That was
I don't
around
know.
the same time that I thought like little baby sharks could come out of the shower head and eat me. You know?
it's like ghoulies, but that also gets you too.
Yeah.
So anyway, like we do here, I'm going to read the synopsis. And I haven't read it yet, so let's see if it is accurate. When teenagers Mike and Debbie see a comet crash outside their sleepy small town, they investigate and discover a pack of murderous aliens who look very much like circus clowns. They try to warn the local authorities, but everyone assumes their story is a prank. Meanwhile, the clowns set up harvesting and eating as many people as they can. It's not until they kidnap Debbie that Mike decides it's up to him to stop the clowns and bloody rampage. I mean, that's really accurate from the ones we've covered, like, read in the past, but...
It makes it sound super chilled, though. It's like, yeah, it just happens, kind of like one random day in the middle of nowhere.
No, they're
town.
at make-out point. I mean, it starts with the like, I don't know, there's something about those 80s movies, too, right? Like, it starts with that, we were talking about vibes earlier, that, like, 80s rock vibe and this killer clowns and in this space, and then like they go and it's all so cheesy. I mean, I'm gonna say it a lot during this talk, but like we start and everyone's 40. They're not.
Yes.
They're all so old.
But they do say they're in college, so at least it's believable. It'd be different if they were like, we're in high school at Makeout Point.
I'm
Some
not.
people go back to college.
Yeah, true.
We're
all of them.
We're roughly the same age, all like 31, the 30s, late 20s.
Yeah.
We look younger than those people have like
Yeah.
chicken pox craters everywhere and like
The
receding
Terenzi
hairline.
brothers
I mean, I have a
were-
receding hairline, but like receding hairlines. Yeah, the Terenzi brothers are just like
The Terenzi brothers' face
memberships.
were like the
One of the first things we pointed out, like, oof.
terrible face brothers. Yeah.
it's Yeah, they got like alcoholic nose.
Yeah. I will say that the vibes though. So like when we were watching it recently, I think about how this movie was probably not taken that seriously in its day, right? Where it was kind of like, what the hell? This is just clowns from space. But we watched Thanksgiving not too long ago, and I'm like, this is probably what. Yeah, I'm like, this is probably the vibe that people thought like Killer Clowns in its time was. Right?
Oh,
like,
sure.
It's like, oh, it's just a shitty throwaway horror movie.
I think,
but it works for this.
Oh,
it works in its favor.
It's kind of only aged better. It's this. It's the perfect version of a B movie.
Yep.
Yeah.
And talking earlier, like Megan, like it knows what it is.
Mm-hmm.
For sure. It's like if someone was like, how many clown bits can we get into a horror movie?
And fully lean
into
full
it.
send all into them, yeah.
Like
the popcorn, the candy.
Oh my god. It like, you know what, like the spaceship, and I'm sure this stole it from Killer Clowns. It reminds me of that one episode of Are You Afraid of the Dark where they have the aliens have the toy factory on the 13th floor. You guys remember that?
Yeah, a little bit. I remember the toy factory.
The set looks like a cheaper version of Killer Clowns. Like the bright colors, the big thing. Like, yeah, it's all plays into itself, and it works so well. And the fact that the Chiodo, I always want to say Chiodo brothers. I think that's how you pronounce the creators.
They're the Terenzi brothers.
No,
but
the creators.
They're actual like
the
ones that made the movie.
Yeah, the Chiodo. It's like I'm gonna say Chiodo brothers, but there's like 3
Jokingly,
of them.
we were like the Chode brothers.
The Chode brothers, yeah. And they directed it and
starred in it.
Yeah, they were VX, the special effects guys, and like that's where all the love went. And you tell it looks phenomenal.
The makeup's amazing in this and aged amazingly.
Yeah,
but
the practical effects and all that are pretty great.
What I say is, what's disappointing is you're talking about this like. It looks great and thing is like the Blu-ray I have of Killer Clowns, and I wish I grabbed it out. It doesn't do it justice because it tries to make it like this like gritty horror movie, like as a cover.
Oh, so when we were looking for it, we watched it on
Tubi.
Yeah,
it's the same. I think it's
artwork.
The same Yeah,
I thought it was some other movie completely. Because it doesn't look like the actual promo from before.
It's the same thumbnail, I think, as in the cover of my DVD, and it's like.
I like the old one with the ball.
It just. It gives its pop. So we do start though with the movie. Like these 40-year-olds making out in a car on like a raft. Like none of it makes sense. The brothers show up in a creepy like ice cream truck and like only to pick up girls. Like it's so many weird choices, but it's so great. And then they see this shooting star, like, let's follow it, which is also, like, insane, because who knows where that shit's gonna land. But, like, I know where it is.
Well, they are in a small town. Maybe they're like, we never have anything interesting happen.
Let's
true. Go do it. We're doing each other. We might as well do something else for a second.
Yeah. So, anyway, they do go find it, and it's at that tent. It's the circus tent, and it's... God, I didn't write anyone's name down. It's
Mike, Debbie,
and Mike,
and then Dave is the awkward
the
ex-boyfriend.
Cop. Yeah, let's go get my ex-boyfriend who's a cop. And
he'll fix everything.
But also, we're gonna have this weird love triangle thing. Mike didn't even know that they were dating.
No.
And then he's in the car, and then she's like, "Well, you can't tell me what I can do anymore now that we're not dating." Mike's in the back, like,
fully
what?
believe at the end that they ended up as a throuple because they're just like hugging and they're all just happy to be together.
He's kind of into him.
Yeah, they got some chemistry going.
Like they made more big vibe because like you don't bring your like. If you're with someone for, let's say, longer than a month, you're not going to make out point to continue the relationship there.
If anything, sorry.
That's like a first date. That was like a third date. Like
Dave is just upset that Debbie never invited him earlier.
To make out point.
Yeah.
With Mike.
Come with Mike. Mike's cool with it. It's the 80s.
Although I will say that I'm pretty sure they're dead at the end. That's my theory.
You think everyone dies?
My theory is that because, we're skipping ahead.
Yeah, we go
lands on them. the pie lands on them, and earlier that
Oh,
security
yes,
guy
yes,
from the
yes.
docks
When the
got
pie
melted.
lands on him, it melts. So I was like, isn't this like acid, basically?
I figured it was like a way to be like, oh look, everyone survived, but did they?
Yeah.
I never put that together there. But yeah, this was always like a movie too that I remember being mentioned about and being like for a while like, this sounds so douchey, like, nah, I'm good. Like, and then finally seeing it a couple years ago, I'm like, this is flawless.
Oh, it is. Yeah, I can't watch it and be like, I hate any part of this. And we've seen more like critically acclaimed movies lately, and I've been like, this is a piece of shit. But Killer Clowns, perfect, 10 out of 10.
10 out of 10.
Yeah.
Yeah, everyone's 40 and horny in it.
Including the clowns.
Yeah, well, the clowns, that's what. So we do get a look at the clowns, right? So they get on the spaceship, and they actually, I think the creepiest part for me, and maybe it's an aesthetic thing, is when they pull back the cotton candy and it's the red like face in there. That always kind of unnerves me.
Are we
I
supposed
don't
to get that like the cotton candy pulls their skin off too?
That may be why. It's
Yeah.
something about like that fleshy kind of bone skin thing.
It's just like, you know, a really intense version of skincare. You get the blackheads out, but you also
Get your
red-
skin
get your whole
off.
skin off. Yeah.
Sure. And
That
with
new
some
fad, cotton candy.
cotton candy. Maybe there's some tapeworms in it, helping lose some weight.
Right.
So yeah, so they're like these cotton candy teardrops, and they're like, there's people in it. They're not so pleasant. And then they also showed that the spaceship has a lot of similarities to like how the Death Star looks, like the way it's just kind of an ever-ending drop, right? When they open up the door and it's windy and shit, like that's right out of Star Wars.
I was telling her right when we saw it, I was like, in the background, you know, Luke's telling Darth that he's not his father.
He literally made that
No.
joke.
Oh, that's funny. I thought I was be so. That's funny. No.
But they're clowns.
I wish. Could we get clowns in the Star Wars universe?
That's gonna be in the sequel, Killer Clowns sequel.
There is. They're doing the game.
I was gonna say, is there a sequel?
They are, right?
So the Chiode brothers, it's their property, and I think they've been trying to get a game or something off the ground for like ever. It wasn't like anything of like they were done, one and done, and I believe they're doing a video game now.
That's good.
Could you imagine making something that at the time was like not really taken seriously, and now it's like years later and your merch is in stores again, and people, it's a cult classic now.
It's my life.
Yeah, it's inspiring.
It is, and the way like Spirit Halloween does that, you know, they're gonna like pump that out every year to the point where like I have everything, like this hat, like I have this hat because it's like they have that Trick or Treat license, the Spirit Halloween, and they have the Krampus license, you know. That is inspiring. So let's make something really good but bad, and then one day someone will be
30
like,
years later, we'll get rich off of it.
Yeah. They'll be like, those keychains. I don't know why you got those. Chiode Brothers also they made the Troll in Ernest Scared Stupid.
The Troll I've heard of. I haven't seen it.
Oh no, the Troll in Ernest Scared Stupid, the Ernest film.
Oh, sorry.
Okay. So
I was like, the Troll.
If you watch that Ernest Halloween movie, the effects and that they did the effects, and they look, and especially the makeup, look identical to Killer Clowns. So these guys have this very certain aesthetic.
I gotta look this up.
Yeah, just look up Ernest Scared Stupid Troll. But as they do that, while you look it up, the couple does escape alive, and somehow they stay alive the whole time, and that's another thing. It's
that does not make sense to me.
No,
that's when they get chased out with the popcorn, right?
Yeah. Yes, there's popcorn because they said you throw all this circus shit at them, and it's great.
I think it's funny that the clown grabs the shotgun, but it's got the little orb in it, and then he just goes up to his popcorn thing, like filling it while they're running.
And that runaway has one of my first favorite bits in it too, is the blowing up the dog because they're searching
Oh
for the
yeah.
people. So they just blow up a balloon dog, and then it's just leading it running and to go find the humans.
I appreciate the commitment to the bit.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
little sniffing and the barking too.
Yeah.
They use it again later. It's not the only
They do.
appearance of the dog.
And so, but then they run away to, they run over to the throuple, to Dave and the just vile,
Over the top.
over the
Curtis
top
Mooney.
sheriff, Curtis Mooney,
Hate that
just
guy so much.
let's 8 cab racist cop, just he's
Hates young people.
He's everything above, and why he works in a college town, who knows? Actually, we had a few of those where
That's
I
why
went
he's
to
so
college.
mad.
Yeah, that's why he's drunk all the time.
And he
Yeah.
doesn't believe anyone too. He's like, not again, you with the clowns.
Terrible at his job.
We see that so often in these like small town horror movies that for them not to realize it too. I imagine like being a cop in a small town and seeing this bit all the time and being like, "That's not me."
That's
As
fuck
I'm
that.
angry. Yeah.
As it's like, oh, it's whiskey.
Yeah.
So, sorry, you guys see my hard alcohol taste without ice.
Hey, it's all right.
So, but they go and they inform him. They don't believe him, but they somewhat convince Dave to come with them. So, they send Debbie home, which fair. It's like if it were me, I'd be like, I'm just staying home. We're done for the night. The clowns can take me. I'm not going to investigate it.
Even for Mike too, though, right? Like Mike has no reason really to go, other than to be like, "Look, it's
No,
over there. Bye."
Mike has no business to go with him.
I told you where it is. You're the cop. Good luck.
Hey, you have a gun. You'll do something with it.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then like I'm kind of following my notes here, so
No, you're fine.
It's all right.
but yeah, they do that, and then we do get a little like there's these little intercuts of the clown montages, which just the best in between their chase stories. So like,
Yeah.
Their takeover is funny because it does give us the feeling that they're taking over this town without giving too much. Like, some movies will go over the top with like, look, explosions, the city's on fire. This one's just like, look, they're everywhere. People are opening their doors and they're there. There's people who are looking around the corner. The one guy that gets me is the one with the puppet show. We can get to him in a little bit.
oh, I love the puppet show one.
Yeah.
This is what I like. So my first is the pizza gag. I absolutely love the delivering of the pizzas are there. But I think, and then this watch made me have this because you have your theories. I didn't even think it was a movie we could have theories about. To be quite honest with you, I think the clown's presence and like especially the spaceship provides an aura where people just become dumber than they are. Because even the couple, like, ooh, I love this shirt. Oh wow, it's like then they never act like that again. But then anyone who encounters the clowns are like, oh yeah, no, great, like the puppet, yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
I really hate that scene because one, he looks like a person I know, but the guy who gets tricked. But I was like, imagine walking in the park and it's what, maybe 9, 10 o'clock, right? Because they're making out. I'm assuming it's Saturday and it's late. So it's like 10 o'clock, 11. This dude is just strolling through the park and finds a puppet show and he's acting real coy, right? It's almost like he's flirting with the puppet show.
Oh,
He's
geez.
really into it.
So, you come here often there? But that's why I'm like, there has to be, I think it's just some sort of like beam that's stopping them because they're all so dumb. Even like in the ice cream shop, the little girl who's staring at the clown, that's terrifying.
Yes.
She's going to him and the mom just picks him up and they're all just like, oh, it's like you didn't see this horrific looking clown.
They could be
Yeah.
magical, yeah. Or the other one that I like is the shop owner. He's
This poor shop owner.
you can't and it's just scene after scene after scene. We cut away, come back, and the man is still like, you
no.
can't do it.
Was he the one that gets the pies?
No, the pies is the security guard at the pier, but
Yeah.
I think they do end up killing the shop guy, right?
I don't
He
know.
calls the cops, and that's when Mooney answers, and he's like, "Oh, you clowns at the shop, whatever." And
Yes,
then
you're
it
right. And
clicks.
it's like hang up, and there's 2 phones, and he's just like, not again. And then they show up at the police station and just take care of Mooney.
Yeah, I do
Yeah.
like the way they get rid of Mooney, though.
I didn't realize on my first watch when he's like, I'm not going to let people make a dummy out of me, and how much it's exaggerated. I was like, oh, yeah, that is how he dies. It should be very obvious.
But I fucking love that. That scene is like I'd say it's the closest to the only horror scene in the movie, too.
Is.
The dummy, he has the blood dripped on his thing, and you see the hole in his back.
Well, I thought the blood drip, the blood drip was to like continue to make him more puppet-like.
Yeah,
right? Like, we're not
it looked like one of those marionette.
perfect. Yeah.
Yeah.
So this film, I feel like it's PG-13. So I feel like it's one of those, it introduces you to horror. Like if you like this,
Sure.
you are going to be a horror fan later on.
It's a good starter horror movie. Like, I think if I saw this about when Eric saw it and be like, you like had dreams and all that, I think it would have been like, yeah, this movie is incredible. It's right on my alley. Like,
When did you first see it?
Like 3 years ago, 3 or 4 years ago. It was very recent. Yeah.
I was probably like 5-6-year-old.
Oh god.
Yeah, no, I remember.
remember.
I remember people talking about it because I was like, I love So Bad It's Good movies, like Troll 2, and I always just dismissed it for some reason.
When I was a kid, it was to the point where my because Killer Clown, we're from Chicagoland area. We got John Wayne Gacy stories, so like clowns are not too rare, or stories at least are not too rare to the Chicagoland area. So my cousins, I remember, used to mess with us all the time, at least. And they would say like the Killer Clowns are going to come get you. And we lived in this like apartment building that had an empty lot next door. So that scene, even when they do the puppet or the shadow show,
that's my favorite. I was going to ask what your favorite kill is. The shadow show for me.
I dreamt about that scene all the time too, but that wall that was by the empty lot looked just like the wall where they do that. And so they would scare us and say like, yeah, the Killer Clowns, they're from around this area. The Killer Clowns of Chicago.
Wow.
That would get me. You should have brought this up on your first episode when I said what's your origin story? You're like, it's the Killer Clowns. No, I get that. For me, I think my movie that was closest to this growing up had to have been like the Attack of the Killer Tomatoes.
I've never heard of this.
Story?
It's a VeggieTales. We're talking about religious movies earlier. This is a VeggieTales movie. No, it's the same thing. I think it's the third one's famous, or the first, because a young George Clooney's in it. But it's it's a first role or something. That was one I saw as a kid and be like, that's really dumb, but same cloth. So yeah, I feel like that's like this, like it's a weird movie to kind of run through, right? Because it's all kind of the same. It's all, to me, just like fun scene after fun scene that kind of ties together itself into a movie. And I know I'm not doing the movie justice by that, because it does better. But like, because you're following around the two guys, and they're kind of following this mystery, and they do find in the clown. So Dave is like, I believe you now. Like, we've seen it. They see the people get taken by the clowns, and they're trying to think of the best way to save them. And then, like our description says, it really doesn't start with them until Debbie gets kidnapped in that balloon, which I do love how they did it, because it's just a balloon running around, and then close-ups of her, and like, help, I'm in the balloon.
They drive off like Mario Kart, with the balloons in the back when it's battle mode.
We do get a great car chase where they're driving in an invisible car, and they run a car off the road, and it just like so anticlimactically falls off that cliff.
It's like when Gizmo drives the little car in the toy shop, or like when the Grinch drives the
oh my god, yes,
the tiny car in
they're so. I love it too. Was no security guard who was like stops. Speaking of the car, stops all the clowns, and they get out of the clown car, and there's like 9 of them in it.
You had to.
What the fuck? I think he's the guy who gets the pies.
He does. Yep. but it like the kills are done in such a funny way that it makes you forget the gravitude of what's happening. Right?
Yes.
Like the puppet and Mooney, right? Like they kill him and he drops in front of
Mhm.
uh Dave when
Mhm.
he's killing the clown. And he like pulls his arm out. Like you said, it's one of the scarier moments because he pulls his
Yes.
arm out and he
Yeah,
just
that
watches
would.
the blood and just faceless, no emotion, just like throws the blood to the ground and you hear the squish. And when
The,
this pie happens to the security guard, it's done in such a like a bit way where the security guard's like, oh, like, when you get pied in the face, it's like, oh, this is annoying.
But
But
then
then
you
they pan
see
away
it,
and it's just bones.
blood and guts in it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, it's a lot. Like I get exactly you being afraid as a kid. Like it's the blood and guts and the um. But that's really the only like bloody scene there. I mean, you see a few things like. I'm glad though we do get that like seemingly fake out, like she gets away and like because we while this all going on, we're basically prolonged of like Debbie trying to take a shower. Like
Literally makes up half the movie.
yeah, like they show her getting in the shower and like oh cool, like oh something's gonna happen or you're gonna
The
get the 80.
popcorn
Yeah,
Mhm.
you're gonna get
moving
maybe
on the floor.
80s gratuitous boob scene that's in every
Yeah.
movie.
But the popcorn's gonna,
Nope, they don't
cover
do
the
that.
nipples.
Yeah, nope, it's the popcorn coming out of the toilet, right?
It's on the floor, and then I think she puts her clothes in the hamper, so the
Yeah.
clothes also has, or the hamper has some in the toilet. I don't know how the toilet one got in there.
No, the
I don't know
toilet
either.
becomes something. Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
The toilet becomes its own creature. And then she comes running out and basically gets kidnapped. But yeah, that toilet scene is such a large gap of that movie. Not right? Like we go see her and then we're just with like Dave and Mike for so long, and some clowns, and we forget. He was like, "Oh, she was just long shower."
Yeah.
I think I remember that part of the movie being like a whole other girl. Or like it's just like, who's this guy? Oh, right, that.
All right. She's still part of this movie. Because at this point, I think Mike and Dave go investigate. They find the cars covered in cotton candy. And while this is going on, she's still showering.
And
We also get the motorcycle scene. It's one of my favorites too, where the little tiny clown goes to the biker place.
oh
The
yeah, there's the
biker.
Right.
bikers,
Yeah.
and
And
they're
they
like,
break his bike, and he's like crying.
encouraging him at first, but they're really just like trying to mess with him.
Mhm.
They ray gun him.
No, he punches him.
He
And
punches
just
them.
Punches
decapitates
the
him.
head off of him.
Yes,
And it does take the guys a while. The rest of the gang's just like, damn.
I
Oh.
swear. I swear to you guys and people listening, I did watch this movie. Uh, but yeah. So Debbie
Do the clowns have
basically,
names?
yes, they do. I have the wiki up right here. So we have Jojo Clownzilla. Oh no, Jojo Clownzilla that's the Clownzilla, but the clowns do have names, and why that's for some reason the only one that Wikipedia wants to give me.
Yeah, because speaking of Spirit Halloween, I'm pretty sure the costumes, they all have their
Oh,
own
yeah.
names of which clown you can be.
Yeah, IMDb just says clown performer for everything.
Let's see, Killer Clowns from Outer Space.
Except for the Clownzilla, King Clown.
And that I didn't know that. I did some research there. They wanted to do that all in like a claymation and everything, but they didn't have they had their budget was gone by the time they got to that. So they were like the suit, which I actually think's better.
It
Yeah.
works out.
I think it'd be very odd if suddenly we have claymation when it has not been that the entire film.
Although I will say, in regards to claymation, I do feel like the scenes that we have of the clowns chasing like Debbie, Mike, and Steve or Dave around their ship kind of felt like when in Beetlejuice, they're in Beetlejuice's world.
Hmm.
Oh
You know,
yeah.
like the monster, they're walking in
Oh,
and out
yes,
of like
yes, yes.
the weird area
Like
in
in
that
between.
circus thing. Yeah.
It's that like surrealist kind of like pop look that this movie has. I did find some clown names though. We got Jumbo, Fatso, Shorty, Rudy, Spiky, Slim, Bippo, Chubby Joe, Magoria, Magoria, Talls, Storefront, Frank, Boko, Female Killer Clowns, Baby Killer Clowns. Now the Female Killer Clowns, guys, I've been waiting on this one. So really jumping around. The Horny Brothers, the ice cream guys, the Tantillas or whatever their name
Terenzis, yeah.
Terenzis. What's up with them? So there's so they all meet up at a certain point, and the Tansies are like, all right, we're on board to help with the mystery and get Debbie back. And they take the ice cream truck to trace the clowns to their spaceship. And then they do split up in the spaceship because it's this like fun house, and the Tansy brothers get fallen into a ball pit. And there's these two babe clowns waiting for them. They're just the same clown design, just with like boobs on them.
Apparently the only two female clowns in this entire ship.
Well, they're like the Smurfs. You're only allowed
one or two.
Smurfette has one role.
She can't even have her own unique name. It has to be the name of your race with the letters at the end.
So these are clownettes.
Clownettes. That's literally, they don't have names, and this is on the fandom wiki. Just female killer clowns. But so jumping ahead, so that happens. We're just like, oh, okay, the brothers died, or they took care of them. No, they had sex with them because you see big giant kisses on their face, and they're like more thrilled than they were before.
They couldn't handle the human stuff, so they had to go for the next thing.
This entire bit cracked me up, especially the one that her boobs blew up like balloons as they were looking at her.
Yeah, and the guys were like, oh boy.
Now, we can't get too nasty here, but what happens, where's that popcorn coming from? Because if it gives birth to baby clowns.
I thought the same thing. What is the popcorn that it produces children?
I mean, this is our rated show. It's cum.
Are they just shooting them with cum?
They're shooting them with just unpopped popcorn, just kernels.
Oh, is that why he took forever to load the gun?
Solidified. What a good question.
It's funny because whether it was cum or popcorn, this would be the same.
Yeah, same kind of. Because how? This is what the show is about. I should recut this to be the front. How did they?
From outer space.
That movie
with
exists.
a K.
I was gonna say, that's a thing.
Yeah, the
come from
XXX porn parody.
And they were like, we made it last year because Spirit Halloween finally has the costumes. Right.
There's a blow up doll for it too, with the boobs.
Oh.
And if you pump it. How did that? How did the brothers work? Apologies for being too crude here. Dude, I imagine they have, demon clown vaginas.
My question was are they now creating another race, half killer clown, half human?
Well, I don't know. The brothers with their face structure might just be clowns in disguise.
Is that the theory? I wouldn't disagree that could be the case.
I don't know. That was because honestly, if they didn't have the kisses on their face, I wouldn't have thought two things about it.
Their clothes are ripped off.
Yeah.
Oh, they got it in. No doubt in my mind that is. I wonder if the video game's going to address that.
It's the Harry Styles Watermelon Sugar High song is about eating pussy. Mm-hmm. They're cotton candy is probably what the Terenzi brothers were vibing off of.
Yeah, maybe that's what they got down. That's why they were in ugh, gross. To the clown women. It's just like their skin is not like like they have the skin of like bad witches, and that those clowns aren't the most attractive looking things.
And what if the reason that they let them survive was because they're like, look at their skin. This is the clowns about the Terenzi brothers. They're like, I don't know if I want to eat these ones, so we'll just do them.
Yes, because we do find out that the reason they're collecting these humans is to drink them. Like
the straws.
Juice boxes.
Swirly straws.
I love their swirly straws. It was one of those thoughts too of like, the production of this. I'm like, they had to make them to be that crazy, which is a crazy thing to think about. Like, the level of, for me, like the level of detail like a set will go to like get something right there.
They got them off Etsy
in the 80s.
Yeah, because I ordered Vivi one after we watched Death Drop Gorgeous. She has
that was a fun movie.
A swirly straw that is in her name. That's his Janet. So I got Vivi one for Valentine's Day last year, right?
Something like that. Yeah.
What a nice Valentine's Day. That was a really fun movie.
It's so ridiculous. I love that movie, but
so dumb. We watched that recently. But yeah, so I guess we're in. We've already alluded. We've talked enough with Terenzi brothers. Although they do have a power over the clowns because they are the ones to stop everyone in their tracks with their ice cream truck when they break through the wall later. But Mike and Dave need wedding dates, and they're like running around the maze like with looking for Debbie, and they find basically a fun house, like a mirror, and they get lost in there. But they do get her eventually, and they just kind of fight the clowns back. This is the point where like the clowns like seemingly lose their power to them a little bit.
So the scene where they save Debbie, Mike's the only one that actually gives a shit about her because Dave just trigger happy. He's a cop. He wants to just shoot the balloon, and Mike's like, "She's in there. You're gonna hurt her." And he doesn't give a shit. He just shoots anyway.
I gotta get her out.
But no, the clowns started to become more cartoonish and less of a threat, especially once the king
Godzilla,
ice cream truck clown comes out, and the clowns are like, "Wait, boss?"
They're so, oh yeah, come on in. They take away, but does this happen? That happens before. I think another gag that I absolutely died. It's the hat on a hat. The door.
The
door.
Right.
Like, open the door. She's like, get the door, and the
we
door's
have to
just
get out.
going in.
Yeah,
it killed me.
We just saw Junji Ito. Have you seen the series on Netflix?
No, I'm not familiar.
There's a bit where one of the characters is like trying to study, and his little brother's annoying as hell, and they build him a multi-layered room that has tiny doors until he gets into this cramped space with just his desk so that he could study. But because we just watched that a couple of days ago, I was like, this is too close. Or it's a bit that like people find often. It's also like
Alice in Wonderland. Yeah,
let's say it's an easy bit. It got me in this in this movie though.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I
you're
truly
right.
feel that they just did. How many bits can we do? Oh shit, we need a story around.
That's what I mean. Like the movie itself, like sitting here us talk about, like compared to like when we talked like Child's Play, really go through it, and it's like this is just bit after bit.
It is
with the loose story around it, and
but that's what you imagine like a clown situation would be like, right? It's like turning something that's ideally innocent. A lot of people are scared of clowns, but something that's ideally innocent and fun and playful, twisted on its back, and it's got to be scary, but it's still the same funness,
comical. Yeah.
Still got to be ridiculous. It's still got to have no sense.
The movie itself is like a dream, right? It's kind of how I remember a dream. Like it's weird, some bits and pieces, but at the end of the day, you kind of just remember the aesthetic of that dream, and like but you're like, oh, it's so interesting. Like I don't know, Erick and Vivi showed up, but we were like at my middle school, and I didn't go to middle school with them, but like
the janitor was drinking one of the kids out of a straw.
Yeah, and then there was like oranges made of fucking cotton candy, like, and that's this movie. I think it's like you said, it's these little comedic bits that have some scary. Like I do think the ventriloquist. You clearly were creeped out by the clowns as a kid, so I can't say they're not scary because they scared someone. I was afraid of everything as a child, so I'm not going to be on my high horse. But yeah, so they they do the mega clown and they get in the ice cream truck, but the mega clown just grows and grows, and they pick up the police. They think they kind of get away, and they pick up the police officer, and Dave saves the day by poking its nose with the end of his badge.
I love that's how you kill these things, like shooting them in the nose.
You got to keep it ridiculous. That's the thing too. Like they knew what they were doing, and they went full send with the bit, because had they tried too hard with making the clowns actually scary, like
indestructible,
we're not talking about it today.
Pennywise, if you wanted to go like awkward, scary, creepy.
No,
you just bully Pennywise and you win.
Yeah, you're like, you stupid. We don't like you. And he's like, well, like scary clowns. I have not watched this, but I think this was also in the 80s. Have you guys watched or covered Funhouse? I remember seeing the cover growing up, like, it was one of those Blockbuster covers because it looks really creepy. It has like a clown on the front of it smiling above a tent. And I think that's supposed to be a legitimately scary clown movie.
Not sure, but that reminds me of like those arcade games with clowns. It's like you're going through a graveyard and there's a clown on it. It's supposed to be like a madhouse thing. What's that game? It's like everywhere.
Kind of the cover. So, but no, Killer Clown. We're not. If this is a scary clown movie, that's the same movie. I don't think we're talking about this movie today.
Oh, this one, yeah, I remember that with the polka dots around its collar and the axe.
Yeah. I'm sure I heard one of our horror friends talking about that recently, or whatever. Like, I never saw it.
The other thing too is that the Terenzi brothers. So before Dave stabs the Monsterzilla, it's when the place is starting to blow up, right? And they throw. I always thought that the Terenzi brothers, their death was stupid, right? We find out they're not, but Debbie and Dave or Mike are like, we gotta go, and the Terenzi brothers was like, but the truck, we have a deposit on it. It's a rental. We can't get rid of it. And then they just stay inside while the Clownzilla throws it around and it blows up immediately.
They're so oblivious to. They're written the way that they're so oblivious to actually anything going around them that like it's just too cartoonish.
Yeah.
Like you said, like the truck, but as we know, they pull an Indiana Jones and they hide in the fridge and they're like, "No, we're good."
Yep.
I found that so. Again, this is PG-13, but the fact that all of them survived to the end, I was like, no, not believable.
No, I think
so hear me out, dude. Hear me out. You watched Dragon Ball growing up, right?
A little bit.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, then this is for no one here, but
say it.
When Goku fights Frieza on Namek, the whole planet explodes, and we see Goku and Frieza blow up as the only survivors, or the only ones left. And then, many episodes later, Goku shows up on another capsule and has a bunch of different clothes on, and they're like, "How'd you survive?" And he's like, "Oh, I just made it. I did.
Yeah,
made it."
It's logic. I get what you're saying. Yeah, I didn't even see. I know exactly what you're saying. We did it.
I just did.
Don't question it. I'm just here.
Oh, this is the definition of don't question it movie.
Oh, for sure.
I'm glad this wasn't made today, because the way we get things made today is it would need all the questions.
True.
Right? Like we were talking about Megan. I think the reason why Megan works is they do just kind of push off to it's just science mumbo jumbo. It works. And a bad movie is no, I need to answer every question because the audience is gonna try to Honest Trailers this, or like CinemaSins it, and that just never works. Just I don't need the logic. Just give me the reason why. I don't need the reason why the clowns show up. They fucking showed
Yeah.
up. They're world eaters. That's what
True.
I think.
Honestly, I think if a sequel came out now, it would be so nerve wracking because it would have to be it would have to be so special so that people like us who like the first one don't go and shit on it.
Yeah.
For the same reason that the first one's like, yeah, it works because it's crazy, whatever, and they would have to obviously go above that.
Maybe that's why, and we go back to the wiki, they have a video game.
It's a safe bet. Just make it a game.
Yeah, it's just easier to, you know.
I'm also a firm believer that not everything needs a sequel.
Yeah, me too.
Leave this as is. It's good as is.
I wasn't gonna say this today, but whatever. I know you. One of the Twitter account today liked my "Not every movie needs a sequel."
Yeah, I retweeted it. Yep.
Yeah, that was reference to this. I know what you did last summer because that's to me a bad movie, and
now how I could see this working. If you had like a Robot Chicken style TV series that takes place on the Killer Clown planet.
Yeah, just completely a different story.
Yeah.
Like,
don't the
try
planet
to remake it.
Planet would be interesting. So it sounds like just skimming the wiki here, like things have been trying forever. Like the Trio Brothers were trying to do a 3D one in 2012, but it never went anywhere, right? Like in 2016, they did it efforts again, and it's all written, but it never went anywhere. And 2018, Sci-Fi Channel announced it was going to license the rights to make more sequels. And also like with Critters, I guess they're probably owned by the same people. And then now 2022 is announced that an asymmetrical multiplayer game based on the film blah blah is being planned for 2023. So now, and it'll be on all the platforms. So I guess that's probably from the success of like Friday the 13th
and Evil Dead too.
And Evil Dead and Texas Chainsaw, and so, but you're right. I leave it alone. I like that we're like we have it. It's not going anywhere. It's a time and a place. Like I don't think you could get I don't need the Gen Z character commentary on the Clowns because they would write that in.
They would make one of the Killer Clowns like a Gen Z character.
Yeah. Yep. I'm okay.
Yeah.
I'm okay. Just give me the shitty 80s that's like, they are what they are. But I like your theory of this ending is that they all kind of die. Like the Clowns didn't die.
Because why wouldn't it be the ultimate bit that the Clowns were just like, in death also, ha 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 ha, we're going to just pie the whole planet.
It's also just interesting that killing the daddy clown, it kills all of them.
Vampire logic.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, is he just the one that made all of them? So they must
with the two clownettes.
They were experiments, I guess.
A sequel could just follow the kids of the Terenzi brothers and the clownettes.
I would watch that.
I would be like Psycho Gorman style. They're just in high school.
That's such a better idea than what I was going to say. I would like to see like a WandaVision sitcom.
That'd be cool. Yep.
No, Psycho Gorman way is so much better.
Yep. Because it can be done, right? Like Psycho Gorman, I feel like is similar to this in that it's just so self-aware and it's stupid, but it's so good.
I think it's the discipline of like with Psycho Gorman as an example, like being like, no, we're going to use these practical effects.
Mm-hmm.
True.
And the puppetry and all of this compared to, I'm sure that it said, hey man, you could do a sequel today, but you got to do it all CG, and that would take it away. That would take all the soul away from the movie. Like whenever we get a Gremlins remake or a Legacy sequel, and it's going to happen, it's not going to be a puppet.
I hope that enough people in the industry are like would be against it.
Me too. Maybe they're not. Maybe I'm wrong. But
the only example I can think of is we recently watched the remake of Evil Dead.
Oh, so good.
And they, I believe, try to stay true and use a lot of practical effects.
Yeah, they did. We covered that, and that's accurate. They were like almost all practical. I think we're getting a little more away from that, more towards that too. I think Megan did that too.
I think they used a combination of both.
Yeah, they actually made Megan and like
multiple actresses played her.
Programmed a whole AI bot to take over and kill a bunch of.
Oh no, it's an actual robot killing people.
Yeah.
Apple had some collaboration. It's out there somewhere. It's not here, so it's okay.
It's gonna happen one day, guys. It's gonna. But yeah, that's I don't know. What do you guys got? Anything else to say? That like it's a very just silly, good movie. It's a great beer movie. Like just a drink along movie. I think too, where like you could sit like with the three of us, four of us, whatever, sit down and be like, drink, cotton candy death, popcorn.
Do you think that we have this feeling because we grew up with it? And if people, let's say it's like 2050, right? And people were like, there was this awesome movie back in the day called Killer Clowns from Outer Space, that they would feel the same way?
Yeah, I think with like, I don't know. I think it takes a certain type of person, right? Or horror people, like these be so bad it's good. The cheese, like even like Thanksgiving, which is the longest, shortest movie ever fucking made. That is a rough watch after a couple of those turkey jokes. But the lane of the people that want to watch that, or like Velocipaster or whatever it be, I don't think they go away. I think if it's some 14, 15-year-old kid today is going to go, I like Killer Clowns. But I'm not going to sit it and show it to like my parents are never going to get it. Or like the super serious person that's probably like, I only like them, like, I only
Hereditary.
I only like Hereditary, like the DC movies or whatever.
Hey, James Gunn's going to come after you. He already announced what he wants today. Did you hear about that?
Again?
Yeah, he finally announced the movies that are going to be.
Oh,
released.
yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, and they're really ambitious.
Oh yeah, the Authority out of nowhere.
Yeah.
It's like the Guardians of the Galaxy of DC.
Yeah,
like
that
a very unlikely team of characters.
Interesting.
I'll wait to see. That's gonna change it. That's gonna change again. Just nail. It's not this show, but just nail fucking Superman and Batman and Wonder Woman first,
and then we'll talk.
Yeah.
The Batman film that he's going to do isn't even. I'm getting off topic. Sorry. The Batman film that he's covering isn't even supposed to focus on him. It's supposed to focus on Robin.
Yeah, and it's not even Dick Grayson. It's I think we're going
Damian.
right to
which is lame. But I know there's some Damian fans out there, so
we'll see. Anyway.
So Grandpa Joe is going to introduce his kids to his grandkids to Killer Clowns.
Yes, I will.
I would. If we had kids and I want them to be horror fans, I would start them off on like Killer Clowns.
I think so.
2050 will be 60. That's crazy. Watching Killer Clowns from Outer Space.
I'm in, man. I'll meet you at the retirement home. Although we probably at a retirement home at 60.
It's movie night this weekend. We got Killer Clowns from Outer Space, and then your kids are like, okay, Dad. Yeah, they're gonna play, Casanova again.
I got the Blu-ray disc. We used to have it on this thing called the Flicks. But no, to answer your question, I do think like movies like that somehow will age fine because like, and I include myself like here, like the weirdness, the weird people like myself, we're gonna like that and find that, and everyone else is gonna dismiss it just like it did when it came out.
True.
Like, there's no fucking reason why I should own a Blu-ray of Troll 2. or The Room, or all of that. But like, people are gonna keep finding them.
That's true. You know what? Yeah, like Sego Gorman too. I feel like the reception it got is surprising because you would think that a movie like that wouldn't get as much hype around it as it did.
Not
and it
my
was,
hunky boys.
I felt that movie was so close to Billy and Mandy that just because
Shit,
of that
you're right.
vibe, I was like, I love this so much.
It was like
That
Billy and
is
Mandy
good.
meets Power Rangers.
Yeah, oh my god, I didn't put the Billy and Mandy connection in that. Yeah.
Yep, Gorman is basically
Grim.
yeah.
Yeah. Just wanting to murder them but under their control, under their spell.
Mm.
All right, but yeah, any other thing you guys want to add to Killer Klowns, or I think I got a good chunk of that out.
I would just say if you've never seen it, go watch it. And like Joe said, drink it with the beer or watch it with the beer and take in the vibes. Put yourself in that spot of this is just for fun.
Just for fun. It's a good mindless movie. Definitely one you could throw on like every Halloween and just have in the background and be like, these are Halloween vibes.
Oh, it just blasts that soundtrack.
Such Halloween vibes.
Oh yeah, the soundtrack is actually not terrible.
Blast that
Do
soundtrack.
you think there's a vinyl out of it? I know you guys are big.
It probably is.
You know what? I was gonna get the one from Waxwork Records, and I told Vivi so many times.
Yeah,
so many times.
sponsor
I want
shaking.
that one. I was like, I want the Killer Klowns one. Hold on, I'm looking to see if they still have it out. And I kept telling Vivi on over and over, and she never got it for me. I ended up getting a bunch of other classics like Candyman and stuff. But
I love the Candyman
that
story.
Song is beautiful.
Killer Klowns, let's see. Probably sold out. Yeah, it's sold out.
I know. Yeah, I got to get some stuff from Waxwork. I only have one horror soundtrack, and I'm pretty sure it's Haunted because it was $2 at the record store, and it was a Rosemary's Baby.
That is for sure Haunted.
Awesome.
And like it looks, it looks like it's from 1969 because it probably is. And I bought it, and I'm like, why am I bringing this home? Especially
I just
with
sent you a message to show you the cover of this Killer Klowns.
We got. Oh.
And the vinyls are pink and green.
That's fantastic.
It's probably on eBay. It's retail $40, eBay for $400.
Something like that.
I might print this out at work and just hang up this artwork. All right, but anyway, what Eric said with the, just watching it and enjoying. But where can everyone find you guys? I know we kind of talked up top, but.
Well, you could follow us pretty much anywhere at Shaking Not Scared Pod, except Twitter Shaking Scared Pod. Yeah. We're on all the platforms, Apple, Spotify, all that.
Twitch, I've been streaming lately. I've been doing watch-alongs and playing a bunch of horror games. So if you want to watch us over there too, you can do that.
Definitely. And you guys know you can find me here. It was always a pleasure to have you guys on. And stay frightful, everyone. Welcome to Flyover State of Fear.